Hello and welcome to episode 2 of SPADS Golf. Only 4 of us tonight. Mr Smith not very well. We are joined by the other Mr Smith, Mr Sam, Mr Miyagi Golf. How are we doing?
The one that knows what he's talking about.
The one that knows the thing. Second edition. How did the first one do? Did you get much fan mail?
A little bit of response from some people, which was cool. So let's crack on. And
I've heard your posters have sold out. It's the one of the
absolutely
top selling. Become a pin-up.
Calendars are on print.
The 2024 calendar is coming out soon. So a few
4 months.
A few things to talk about. Let's start with the DP World Tour. Let's go with that. Rory, Patrick Reed incident first of all. All of you see it? See what happened?
No. Can someone fill me in? I know it's been rattling around, but fill me in.
Okay, so what happened is basically the former part of it is Patrick Reed subpoenaed Rory on Christmas Eve and delivered to his house on Christmas Eve, which seemed to have upset him. Sam, jump in if I've got any of this wrong. Which obviously upset Rory because you only deliver a subpoena on Christmas Eve to mess up someone's Christmas.
What's the subpoena for?
Don't know.
Oh, right.
Any idea, Sam?
I think it's slander against his name and
Is it also to do with the LIV stuff?
golf.
I assume.
No, this is a separate
no?
thing. I think.
Oh, right.
I think I don't know the details.
Anyway, he subpoenaed him before, but on Christmas Eve.
It's a lawsuit.
It's a lawsuit.
Yeah, I know that. Obviously, there's a reason for it.
Yeah, we don't know why. And then obviously he then see him on the thing, and obviously what happened, shook his hands with his caddy, and then obviously expected Rory to sort of shake his hand like nothing happened. So Rory just ignored him as any normal human being would do.
Adult would do.
Yeah, and then so obviously Patrick Reed said something, walked away, and then flicked the tee at him because he had LIV. He's got his Aces tee. LIV tee that he flicked at him, and then obviously it made every outlet, every newspaper, everything else like that. But then obviously what made it bigger is Patrick Reed played very well, and so did Rory, and it was
He beat him on the last hole, didn't he?
I think there was more of an incident with Patrick Reed's ball when he hit it up the tree, didn't he?
Yeah. Because they were talking about was that where the ball actually finished.
Yeah.
He was saying it's still in there or something.
The camera showed it was a different tree, and he swore it was his ball.
He could have got unplayed.
He hadn't identified his ball either. Something like that. He's got previous, so well done, Rory.
Karma.
And
yeah, I did think he was going to blow it though, because they're
obviously both brilliant, and both had a grudge that actually came through.
Yeah,
to be the final, which was cool.
Yeah.
Imagine the TV ratings if it had been a playoff.
And it all helps LIV.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, absolutely. And so let's talk about that LIV Golf. Sam, you're better placed. We spoke about it briefly before, and I'll get your opinions on it as well. Obviously, last year was the big controversy. PGA, the LIV Golf launched. Greg Norman drove behind it. A lot of players left. Dustin Johnson's, Bryson DeChambeau's, etc. has gone to LIV. Sam, what's your opinion of LIV? Is it good for the sport, or should everybody stay the PGA and keep it all under one?
It's great for the sport. Anything that puts money into professional golf is good. Anything that puts money into the game, it should put more into the grassroots. I'm sure they can't not splash around that sort of cash without encouraging grassroots in Saudi Arabia and other Arab countries. So I think any competition's good for the PGA Tour as well. They don't want to disrupt the fact that they're the giants, and when they started banning people who talked about LIV Golf positively from their press conferences and things like that, that's pushing on censorship and bits like that. So I think fair play. The boys should cash in. Most of them are cashing in. The Cameron Smith one was a surprise.
Yeah.
But it worked for his family, and fair play to him. He got a lot of money for it, and at some point they'll be able to play at least in the majors and probably in the other tours as well, because I don't think you can stop someone from earning a living as a professional in different events just because they're associated with something that people don't like.
Yeah, I'd guess it's restraint of trade, something like that, or potentially it could be. It's that. Do you not think it could devalue certain tours though? So a bit like boxing in terms of that sometimes it's a bit spread about the best never fight the best, because some are with Frank Warren and some are with Eddie Hearn and some are with Boxer, etc., etc. Do you think there's a similar situation that could happen in golf, where you don't get the best against the best? And does that devalue golf as a product?
Potentially, potentially, if there is that sort of divide. It seems like there's that sort of divide, and it seems like both sides now have taken a stance and want to stick with it, and a lot of them don't know what they're fighting for.
Yeah, I think the way it was
against.
I think the way it was dealt with has just been bad, isn't it? I think it's just someone's gone with an open checkbook and gone, come and play with us.
Yeah.
And the PGA have gone, I'm not having that.
I'm still waiting for the call.
There should have been some conversations had
Waiting a
first,
while.
I think. Do you know what I mean? They should have just handled it better, I think. Because everyone's just gone, they're just throwing money at it. Which they might be.
It
like
looks
Sam
like
said,
it looks like the senior tour.
there's
a little
definitely
bit,
room for more
It looks
competition
like-
and more other competitions. And you've got to vary it out apart from just the two. DP World Tour and PGA is not enough, is it really?
I was thinking on the way here, actually, when Tiger starts playing in the senior PGA events, like the majors, because he'll want to go for his major record in some way, shape or form, that tour's going to overtake the PGA Tour in viewing figures.
Yeah.
So what do you do then? I don't think there's a problem with it. I think the problem comes a little bit from the people who fund the PGA Tour. I'm particularly keen on the Saudi Arabian side of things getting involved in sport. People associate themselves with golf because it's a good thing. There's the cleaning, the sports washing, is it?
Yeah, sports washing. So
They're
yeah,
saying that
it's
about
washing.
a lot of the Arabs and just throw money at stuff just for...
Well, yeah.
You've seen it a lot. Obviously, Formula One. You've seen it in boxing. You've seen it in.
Same as the PGA Tour making America look
But
good.
it's
and
progress, isn't it?
They
It's
do
not...
things that aren't very nice. The racism in America's horrendous. The police brutality. There was another one today that was a black guy that was killed again by 4 coppers, beat him up to death. You have to beat someone quite a lot to death. You can stop when they've stopped moving.
You said, is that experience?
It's just horrendous. Imagine.
All the people you've ever beat to death. You saw.
It's just
No.
horrendous, and you know, it's be careful. You know, we don't like some of the things that are supposedly happening there, and they don't like things that are happening where we are. So,
All as bad as each show.
yeah, just get on with stuff.
What do we think about the live format though? So obviously shotgun start. When I've watched it on TV, the only thing I will say about it is I find it's quite hard to follow.
It's very erratic.
Like, because it's like, and we're on the 7th, and now we're over to the 11th, and now we're down to the 4th, and it's like, what the hell is going on?
But a lot of that's starting up errors, isn't it? Because they've not got a TV channel.
Sure.
They've not got...
They have now. They've got this CW in America, whatever the hell.
That's
that
no
is.
use to us, is it really?
No.
But
No.
it's a bit all over the shop because it's not found its feet yet, I think.
Yeah, and also you don't get the Rory, Patrick Reed. Obviously, you got that coming down to the last thing. You was watching it on the Monday morning. You know, built into that narrative. You don't kind of get that, or haven't felt that with Liv so
It's
far.
Friday,
because
Saturday,
it's a
Sunday,
bit-
isn't it?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But because you jump from hole to hole. You know, when you follow the leaders in the PGA Pro you watch on TV, you follow that story towards the end.
You've got teams and all sorts in this, haven't you?
Yeah,
Like
sort of
teams
jumps
and
around all over the
singles. I'm
place.
like, don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it is a bit. But anyway, I'm Team Crushers. So we're
remember
a
what I
fan of we're a fan of
Who's in Team Crushers?
Bryson
Bryson.
and
Obviously.
and some other people.
I've got
Bryson.
the team that's got Phil Mickelson in it. It's not doing very
I can't
well.
remember because they haven't had a
High flyers,
competition.
Definitely isolate themselves from certain people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's got to have lowered the amount that sponsors will pay, but they've been financially rewarded in other ways. So
They have. It'll be interesting.
There's a lot of them friends. Like Dustin Johnson's gone from TaylorMade, hasn't he? And Max
has he?
Wolf's gone.
He's gone from TaylorMade?
I think so, yeah. Someone
Has he?
said today that they've obviously gone to DP. Live.
Talking of TaylorMade, we mentioned it just off air. Obviously, Rory at the weekend, old stealth driver, Titleist wedges. Obviously,
Vokey
TaylorMade.
wedges, yeah.
Yeah. So again, Sam's that kind of just a personal choice, you think, and
Oh, definitely. Whatever's
The
with.
wedges is weird though. He's been playing MGs for ages.
He might have got an old set out the bag, and they might have felt really nice. It's,
Wow, would he have to tell? Because obviously he's got a contract. He'd have to tell TaylorMade that, wouldn't he? Do you think they're just going to go, "It's all right, you make us loads of money anyway"? You'll be all right."
He'll have to have a certain amount of clubs in his bag, but at the end of the day,
And I heard somewhere today that it has to be a full complement, maybe a putter different.
it depends
Or a
on
ball.
in his contract.
Yeah.
Every
But I
player-
suppose someone like Rory can just write his own contract, do what he wants, I suppose.
I'd imagine whatever wins is the best.
Yeah.
The best bet. A lot of them grind off the maker. You know.
Yeah. Let's be
Bit-
honest,
bit
TaylorMade
tip
and
ends.
Titleist aren't going to carry either way, are they? I don't think.
no, I think
like either
Rory
of them need
winning
money.
helps, as you said.
Remember, Rory had that one change of irons that set him back a few years. It's very, very, very at the top level. It's very, very fine to get perfect distances with certain irons and certain clubs. And it's the reason Tiger carried on using his tightest irons and ground the back off, and they put a tick on it because they were the irons that worked, and you don't want to change it very much at all.
Once you found something that works, you
The
keep it,
perfect
don't you?
weight. The perfect weight is like gold, and it knocked Rory back a good few months when he changed to Nike, didn't he? And
Yeah, someone was saying, I think, was it Stenson wanted a set of irons that Poulter's got in his garage, and he wanted to buy them off him. Poulter was like, no, you're not having them, because they're
Couple
like
of
brilliant
a mil. I'll charge them a couple of mil. Go and rob it.
So the theme for today, Sam, we're going to, each of us have got a question. Kev had a question as well, so I'll ask it for him. And just to ask your advice about different aspects of the game. We wanted to make it a little bit lighter today and things. So I'll ask Mr. Smith's question for him, as he's not here. So he said, is there a reason why he tops the ball all the time? He tops the ball quite often. Did you say 'cause he's shit?
I was just about to say you can't say that, but Dave's come out and said it.
He said, is there a reason it tops it? He said, and then is it a mindset? Because sometimes then when he tops the ball, he then trying to make up the distance because he's topped it. He doesn't top every shot by any stretch of the means, but he does have the odd one in him every now and then. I think he's wondering if it's obviously something he's doing, but is there something
knows
he
what
can
it
concentrate? Well, this is what Sam's going to answer.
it's most definitely not his lifting his head.
Not lifting his head.
Because that's not a thing. When a lot of people would say, "Oh, you lifted your head on that one," you need to lift your head when you play golf. Otherwise, you stay bent down and you play like an old man. So you need to stand up.
So that's the thing that happens all the time. People say, keep your head down, but it's totally wrong.
No. So yeah, if you kept your head down, you'd move from side to side too much, and you wouldn't get much power in your golf swing. So it's not that he's keeping it's not that he's lifting his head. It'll be the fact that most people top the ball by pulling their arms in towards their body, and they do that because they normally hit the ground too early. So they kind of learn to avoid the floor, and then they're playing a game of avoid the floor in a certain amount each time, and sometimes they get it wrong, and sometimes they get it right.
Yeah.
If you can learn to hit the floor with irons after the ball, where you're trying to hit the ground as opposed to trying to avoid the ground before, and with a wood, on the hole, you could probably just try and hit it maybe 1 or 2 degrees on the up. You don't have to be massively on the up, but you wouldn't want to be on the downswing either. So basically, he's probably learning to avoid the floor in different degrees.
So fatted a few shots and then basically now trying to make adjustments to get
most people, it's because of what they're doing with their arms,
Mm-hmm.
the shortening and lengthening of their arms.
He's got quite short arms anyway, so that could
there
be.
you go. That could be it.
And then what regards to the mindset? So the mindset of then, if you've topped a shot, like he says, he then goes into the next shot, obviously realising he hasn't gone very far. What's the advice there? What's the best thing to go into if you've topped the shot?
Don't move your arms anymore.
Maybe quick fix on it would be to maybe use the little pink castle tee, so you're not going to roof it and try and hit the tee
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to trying to hit the ball,
Mm-hmm.
and get a better golf swing and a better low point control, and that would help.
Mm-hmm.
Controlling where you hit the floor is an integral part of playing good golf. Probably one of the key areas, I'd say.
And it's probably not something that's talked about, is it, in terms of...
That club ground after the ball is something I've never tried or thought about because it scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, but you've got to, haven't you?
Because I'd never taken it ever, just straight off the top. So hitting it the ground after the ball was just, I'm like,
I'd say a lot of people, anyone who prefers to have it slightly nestled up in the rough,
yeah, that's me.
as opposed to on a tight fairway, those sort of people have trouble controlling their low points. They might not admit it. They might say they don't like bare fairways, but
I don't mind a bare fairway, but in the summer, I hate it.
A tour pro would prefer to play off this table than from any kind of rough, because they can control the spin. So, and the better the player, the more they want to play off something that's bare.
Yeah, it's that confidence of knowing you're going to get something behind the ball, I think.
Yeah, ball then ground. It's because all the clubs are bent forwards. The low point needs to be after the ball. The driver's the only one that's bent slightly backwards. So it's the best hit the ground probably with an iron 4 to some of them up to 8 or 9 inches after the golf ball. There's a low point for where their swing lowers. It hits the bottom of the arc. So yeah, it's definitely something that people could improve by simply taking a club with your feet together and learning to hit the floor in the same place.
That's something we've worked on in lessons as well, isn't it? About getting me after the ball. I do hit after the ball a little bit, but not enough for coach to be happy.
It's just because if you only do it a little bit, then there'll be times where you don't, and that'll be ground early and the ball goes nowhere.
Yeah.
So you just want to guarantee it after. And that comes from having your centres positioned not drastically behind the ball.
Does that affect distance then, the way we hit the ball?
100% loft.
So how far would I hit it if I hit it behind the ball? Jesus.
How far would you hit if you hit it straight?
Well, there is behind,
Like,
right? It's be woods.
Yeah, but even that's got a bit of a... But not compared to the woods, obviously.
No.
The woods is massive. But yeah, God knows how Lee's a big hitter, but round a corner he's a big hitter as well. He's the only person who can hit 300 yards around a corner. So
It'd be quite interesting to see. It sounds quite hard to do.
It's incredible.
When we're finished, I'll bring up the map. You've played the 12th at Chalgrove, haven't you? One, there's a reservoir at the bottom.
Yeah.
Dogleg, right.
Yeah.
Driver off the tee, middle of the fairway.
Because it just naturally bends round that.
It doesn't go over a tree.
No,
Just
just literally
follows
goes
the
round the
fairway.
fairway.
It indicates.
That's where Dave told me a bad line last time.
Yeah, he did. He did actually.
Did he take you over the tree?
That was my only bogey.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. You see?
Still
That's what happens when Dave's your caddy.
Still thinking about it.
Never listen to me, Sam, mate. I know nothing.
Dave, what's
On
your
any
question
aspect of
for,
life at all.
I know at 12 o'clock is the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's about it.
What's
No, 12 o'clock's lunchtime, Dave.
No, midnight then. All right.
What's that?
Sorry.
What's your question, Dave, for Sam in terms of apart from how to play golf?
How important are golf balls selection? For
Well, if you're going to play golf, quite
I was going
involved.
to say, I'm glad you finished that.
Vital.
How
If you play
important is
football,
golf?
they're not very
I told
important.
you, I know nothing.
So how important is the right selection of golf?
Yeah, right selection of golf ball for player.
At the basic level, not really that important. But as you play better golf, become pretty important. I'd say towards the top end, it's the 4 or 5 shots that you gain that control with a ball that stops and spins properly. But I'd say just basics, just anything that's hittable. Even if you're hitting a piece of screwed up paper with a broom, you're golfing in some form. So the access to golf needs to be easier than going out and forking out 100 quid on a set of clubs and needing this and needing that. To be able to whip a cane around in the back gardens learning golf, and to be able to shadow golf. Coming soon in Miyagi golf.
I think the ball's quite important mentally, though. I think, and having a bit of consistency at this level is
you try
is
hitting
important.
a hockey stick and a piece of paper, and you do it 4 or 5 times, and you start to see that it goes the same way, and then you can start to try and hit it into things. And for people who haven't got a club, just playing hand golf, it just anything that gets you moving. But the further you get into it, the more
important it is.
But for the most weekend warriors, mid to high handicappers, would you say the selection of ball isn't important, but at least pick one and stick with that because it takes a variable out, or not?
I would say they're not playing enough to get that feel difference.
Okay.
Once a week, no, they're not learning the game enough to learn that ball. I wouldn't imagine.
Mine's about how it comes off.
Make sure it's
my
not
ball.
a refinish one that says refurbished at somewhere on the side, because
You hit it and you come up across a different name after you hit it.
Yeah.
just
A couple of them.
you get some good bargains in a professional shop where you go in and they've got the lake balls that they've fished out. They've only been there in a day or so.
There's so many places with decent balls for now these days.
Go and look for some.
Yeah.
That's what I used to do as a kid. Go over the carrier
I do
bag
every
and
Sunday.
pick as many as you can.
I'm always picking up
Okay,
cabbage.
yeah. I'm always looking for balls. Unfortunately, it's my own.
Someone somewhere has golf balls that you know as well. There'll be some.
Oh, yeah.
There'll be someone.
Smithy's got boxes
Yeah.
and boxes of them.
So it's another hurdle that I'd say try and avoid. But once you get to your boys' level where you can actually, play a bit, you can then
You haven't seen us play that?
choose a ball. And
I like to keep consistency, and I like the way
It doesn't stop it going in the water though.
No, it's the way it
It's
comes
a
off the
favourite.
putter for me.
What-
If it feels nice off the putter, then that's the
That's a
ball I
good.
Let me ask you a question then, Sam. So I played at the weekend for the first time I played with Pro V1. Felt confident, went out, thought, right, I'm going to play it. And I actually played okay. But I also, and I could be wrong here, I also didn't feel like it was the ball for me. I also felt like, obviously I've got a bit of a shape to my shot, especially with the driver. That's much better than it was. But I see the Pro V1 seem to almost exaggerate it again. And it seemed to be, I didn't seem to get the distance. That was me. Obviously it's the way I'm hitting it because of lots of spin. But
Yeah.
is that a possibility? Is that what I think I saw, what I saw?
So the reason you played well was probably the confidence bit in terms of, okay, I'm going to keep this ball and play well with it. So you kind of set out with a bit more of a positive mindset, perhaps.
It wasn't until he lost 2 on the second.
Yeah.
10 quid down the drain.
I took 10 with me.
I would say the brutal honesty of it is most people aren't going to reach the good stuff in a Pro V, the middle of it.
No.
I can't. I can just about, and I'm about 107 clubhead speed with driver, and I think you need to be quicker than that to reach the centre of a Pro V. So if you're playing it, it's for the softness and the feel of it rather than the distance. There is balls that will go further.
I find him too soft around the greens for me, too spinny.
Well, there you go. It depends where you play as well. If you play somewhere where the greens are 8 on the stimp, then you don't need a soft ball. This time of year, you don't need a soft ball. In the summer, when it's baked out and hard, and you want to be able to control it and spin it, then you'll need a decent ball. But I believe John Daly won one of the. I think he won the British Open with an ultra competition, a proper rock hard.
Still find them in the bush, don't they, old ultras?
Yeah.
It still would have spun because he hits it so hard. But yeah, fair play.
Yeah, so it is, I think Pro V's not necessarily the one for me. Lee, what was your question
45
for,
quid a
for,
dozen,
for
yeah.
Sam? No,
Mine's not really golf related, but it is. If
Okay.
you had the chance to play golf on tour, would you?
Definitely. Live Tour. They pay loads of money.
yeah.
Of
Put
course,
Sam's
the
phone
money
number
there.
on here, Liv, if you want to get in contact.
definitely.
How close did you get to it, Sam?
That was the goal when I was 14. I was going to be world number 1 in my head. That was the goal. I played to quite a decent level. I played for England. I did England school golf. I won my county championships, my club championships and things. Did a scholarship out in the States. Div 1 school and did okay. I played every year. So I played to an okay level. To make money doing it properly, a +5 level. Say I was at my highest powers, maybe a +1, +2.
Mm-hmm.
So
Is that gap of +4 a big gap?
yeah, it was distance and yeah, 100% distance. The people that I played with that went on and made a lot of money and played Ryder Cups and things like that all hit it a lot further. So that becomes quite noticeable when you do it. I did 4 years out in the States and got thumped by lots of big hitters, and yeah, it's a power bridge that you need these days if you want to be really competitive. It's proven with strokes gained. If you're closer to the hole, then you have less shots.
Yep.
So for me, as I say, if I hit a good one with my speeds, it maybe carries 265.
It's just not enough, is it?
Nowhere near. Yeah. So yeah, it's the harsh reality of it. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. That's what I went to school to do. I realised about 2 years into school that wasn't the case. So I started to study a bit more and love the game. So I liked coaching it. I would say my mindset at that point wasn't good enough to push on through that barrier, you know, the speed barrier,
Yeah.
to persevere through that. But I worked pretty hard as a kid on it, and I would say anyone can still get there, even if they don't hit it far enough yet. I could have hit the gym. I could look like Tiger Woods now, and that's me 20 years looking back. When I was in that situation when I was 20, I was like, shit, I'm quite a long way off here. But yeah, I was still enjoying, love playing the game. Was that deep for
No.
No.
It's a real insight into.
Honest,
it's a real
that's what you
insight
want
into
from-
thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's my brutal honesty with it. The point of when it was a choice of I'd need to make some money.
So a lot of people don't realise how hard it is to make money on golf. You have to be something extremely special to make money.
The ones who you haven't heard of are brilliant as well.
Yeah, that's it.
You know,
You don't realise how good the good ones actually are.
Yeah, the top ones to stay there as well. If you think how many actually stay there for a long time,
Yeah.
it's not that many.
Yeah, Tiger's number one stat's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. Tiger's just something else. I'm almost a bit disappointed that I kind of missed the Tiger era in terms of when I was interested in golf. Although I was aware of him and I was a little bit interested in golf when I was a teenager, I didn't fully appreciate perhaps what I would have done.
You don't take the time to sit back
No.
and look, do you? Just say, oh, he's world number one, world number one. But if you look back at all those world number ones in any sport, it's the same. You think, wow.
To do it for that long is incredible. My question, Sam, for us weekend warriors, is there an aspect of the game, and this is when I ask this is for everyone that might be watching, is there an aspect of the game that us weekend warriors should focus more on to improve our game? So, i.e., is it saying, should we make sure and put a lot of time in to make sure our drive is decent? Should we put time into irons? And I know you're going to say all of them are important, but if you had to pick one to help the weekend warrior that's going to go out and think, right, this week I can only do whatever, are they better off trying to get the driver straight? Are they better off improving their irons? Are they better off chipping? Are they better off putting?
Good question. Everyone wants quick ways to get better at stuff, don't they? So, in my opinion, pitching and chipping. Firstly, because it incorporates the hold, which you require in all of them.
Yeah.
It allows you to get a feel for the club head. The basic arm action with a standard pitch, anyway. There is different pitches where you will change the amount you bend your arms, but just that basic hip high to hip high motion, and then shoulder high to shoulder high motion for a little bit longer pitch. I think that definitely. Firstly, there's a bit of loft involved for people, so they can see some height on shots.
Yep.
It's quite enjoyable to play with different shots in that way. But I think it is a micro of a bigger action. People tend to practice what they're good at, so I'd say practice what you're not good at.
Yeah,
that would be a key. As human beings, we like doing things we're successful at.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good.
That's all four aspects for you to practice, Kevin.
Yeah, that's really good.
But practice the one that you like the least. But at the same point, it's a hobby.
Putting.
So go ahead and smash some drivers and have some fun with it.
Yeah.
It's all right. This is the theory of it. You should do this.
It's like a diet, and it's got to be balanced.
It's a hobby at the end of the day. So
what you're saying? I probably won't make it on tour now.
No.
Is it too late?
No,
it's too late. Yeah.
It's never too late.
Oh, there's trans stuff and could be no. The girls are brilliant. No chance.
They are really good. That's one sport where men and women are very, very close, aren't they? In terms,
if you could invent your own type of gender where you're the only one that's in it.
You might.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, I really appreciate you.
I really like watching
That's a
women.
wrap, Noel.
They're so more chatty as well. They just walk along, they just chat to each other. And it's so much more
technique over
camaraderie.
power.
Yeah,
still a bit of that. But at the end of the day, there will be someone who comes along who
golf.
hits it further
Yeah.
in ladies' golf and dominates.
Yeah.
And it will change to that way because it's happened lots of times.
Yeah. You see that in boxing as well. You see. It tends to be in junior boxing. You'll have one kid that develops earlier than everybody else. He's that bit bigger, that bit stronger, and then he just goes through the ranks because he's just bigger and stronger ultimately, and that's just because he's developed early. And Any more questions? I think
I've got hundreds of questions, but I'm not going to keep him all day.
Go with one more. We've got time. Go on.
If you got hundreds, come on.
No, I'm not going to think. I can't think of any right now.
Oh right, okay. You got 100.
Yeah, but you can't.
All right. We'll call it a day with that. So, again, for those who've only seen this for the first time, obviously, I say we're not golfers. Sam is a PGA professional. He knows.
Well,
what
we are
we're talking
golfers.
about.
Just not very good ones.
Part-time.
We will get Sam on social media. We wanted to get a couple of weeks in. I wanted to get a couple of weeks in before releasing his Miyagi Golf, which will be coming by the time this comes out. It will already be up and done. Sam, thanks again for coming and giving us your expertise.
Nice to see you all, guys.
And any questions that you want us to talk about next week, comment, share. If you're seeing it on social media, any platform you see it on, please let us know and we can put it to Sam and hopefully answer some of your questions. Gentlemen, thank you once again, and we will see you in a couple of weeks.
Yep.